Welcome back to Built to Ship, the podcast where we go behind the scenes with founders and product leaders shipping real AI products into the world. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Kshitij, the co-founder of Voker.ai or Vosh.in, an AI platform that helps restaurants understand and optimize their delivery and online sales performance. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Tyler. I'm very excited to be here.
Amazing. Well, let's start with the founding story. What were you doing before Vosh? And then how'd you get the idea? I know you guys went through Y Combinator as well. I think we shared a group partner. I noticed that you guys also worked with Dalton. So I'm sure
Yeah,
you've got some interesting stories there.
yeah. So just before starting Whoosh, right, I completed my MBA, and I was working at a consumer durables company, very large in India, and I was always curious, right, in the restaurant space, and I did had a background in like the restaurant space when I was in my undergraduation. So in my college days, I used to go to different college festivals, put up a burger stall, because as we all know, there are these students who want this big ass burgers
Yeah.
after they party in the college fest. And then we used to sort of like I would call myself as a student entrepreneur, used to make money and then start some like put more stalls, then more make more money, etc. So I was always interested in this space. And when I was doing my job after my MBA, I was in Bangalore. That's where I met my co-founder, and we started discussing about the gaps in the restaurant industry, primarily in India. And we figured out that a local restaurant cannot compete with a branded outlet in terms of revenue per square feet, in terms of the hygiene standards, the technology standards, etc., etc. And that's when we started like an Airbnb for restaurants. So we'll just go to a restaurant and help them with their technology stack, with their branding, with their standardization of food, give them our own brand name, which is Whoosh, and then list them on online food delivery platforms in India. Um, from there, we could understand that all these restaurants want this massive share of business from the online piece, but they don't know how to do it. Second, we could make a lot of money in terms of the revenue on these platforms, but we couldn't make any profits, right? Because when any food delivery aggregator like Swiggy, Zomato in India, or DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub in the US works with you, they charge a lot of fees. It could be commissions, it could be marketing fees, it could be a lot of deductions, refunds, a lot of back and forth happens. But when you look at your PNL, it is mostly rare or it is very thin, right? So while doing this, we could realize that this business is not working out. But there is a definitive need of a software, right, which basically eliminates a lot of the manual work that such a big team of ours is doing. For let's say we used to own and operate 200 outlets in India, right? And a team of 20-25 people used to manually work on the backside of Swiggy and Zomato. So doing the accounting, doing the reputation management, doing ads and promotions management, doing so on and so forth, right? So with this, we sort of started researching, right? Global markets. It could be India, it could be US, it could be Europe. And we realized that the gap remains the same. It could be any food delivery platform in any country, but the back of the office is not solved at all, right? That's when we sort of pivoted and come to the model that we are today, which is a complete SaaS tech solution for restaurants. And now we are the pioneers and the leaders in this space, wherein we integrate your DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub in the US, and then automate all actions on the back of the house, right? It could be reputation management, ads and promotions management, financial management, etc., etc.
Amazing. So if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying even if I, as a restaurant, use DoorDash or Uber Eats, and they have a software that I can log into and use, but it still requires a ton of manual work that I have to
Yeah,
hire employees just to manage handling
exactly.
like those platforms. Wow. Okay. And you guys are
Exactly.
automating that and solving that for businesses so that they can
Exactly.
actually make money off of these channels. Is that right?
Exactly. Exactly. Perfect.
Amazing. So why would these restaurants? I'm just curious. Like, why do they
Mhm,
even list on DoorDash, etc., before they had Voosh? If it was like not
mhm.
even profitable, just because they have to be there to have their brand exposed, or
Yeah.
what? What's the
Yeah.
reason?
So there are two reasons. There's a massive shift pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. In the pre-pandemic era, the share of online food delivery was just 5-6%, right? Post-pandemic era, and if we talk about today, it's more than 20-25% for a restaurant,
Wow.
right? So consumers are increasingly wanting the convenience to order from their home. They are increasingly wanting that their favorite restaurant should be available online. So if you don't want to lose business and reach and awareness about your restaurant, I would say that it is mandatory for any brand to be available on DoorDash, Uber Eats today. So it has
Wow.
become a necessary evil, and it has become a very growing channel of business for all the brands that we work with.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like you guys kind of are focusing on the right problem at the right time then, because that's grown to 20+% you said, and I'm sure it's still trending up. So
For
I want
sure.
to get into a bit about like what are the AI aspects of your product? Let's start there at a high
Mhm.
level. How does AI help your users, automate this process that would take 5 or more employees
Mhm.
to manage
Mhm.
these channels?
Yeah, so I would divide this into two parts. One is the actions part, and one is the conversational insights part. So we started with the actions part, wherein, let's say, you want to get your money back from the disputes that are pending with your customers, right? So let's say a customer does not like the food from your restaurant, they'll file for a refund on DoorDash, and DoorDash will deduct the same from your pocket as a restaurateur, right? So now, to fight it as a human, there are like at least 10 steps involved. There is back and forth between the teams. There is a lot of, I would say, manual intervention across, right? And if you look at the daily stack of a restaurant, right, they're very busy in focusing on their customer, getting the best food out, getting the best service out, right? So this we have automated end to end, and this is just an example, right? So once we onboard with you, our agent would go and sort of understand your dispute, understand why is it relevant to be disputed or not disputed. So basically checking whether it is genuine, non-genuine. Then it would gather required evidences from your POS, etc., your security cameras, right? Analyze it, then come to a conclusion that okay, I have even enough evidence to actually go ahead and file it. Then it would file it with the respective platform would debate it, or maybe not debate it. Then there are multiple use cases, so it's a very elongated and very elaborated product, which we are able to solve 100%. Similarly, I'll give you an example of the second agent, right, that we work on. It's primarily on the downtime management bit. So restaurants get switched off on DoorDash and Uber Eats without they knowing them, and that could happen because of multiple reasons, right? One reason, which is quite evident, is when, let's say, the drivers are not available in your area, in a particular area. So DoorDash and Uber Eats, to prevent their own customer experience, would switch off
Mm.
random outlets, right?
And they
And
don't even tell
if
you. They don't tell you
they,
that
they,
that.
yeah, they don't tell you, right? And if you are a restaurant, you think that you are switched on DoorDash, Uber Eats, but you are always wondering why am I not getting the sales, right? But the reality is you're actually switched on, or switched off from the customer angle. So if Tyler opens his DoorDash, sees, searches for pizza, and the pizza brand is not showing up because that is switched off and the
Wow,
competitor is winning, right? So our agent would basically ping and check DoorDash, Uber Eats as a customer,
that's
right?
smart. Yeah,
And see whether the outlet is switched on or off, right? And if it is switched off, it will auto switch it on from the POS. So that's an entire agent layer that we have built, right?
amazing.
Uh,
How
yeah, and
long
I
have you
can
had
go
these
deeper.
agent features? Or just out of curiosity,
Yeah,
how long have you had these agent features in production? What was the
yeah,
process like of getting them set up,
yeah.
and how many engineers did you need to build these AI
Yeah,
features?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, we started from this premise only from day one, and we have been building this for the last 2.5 years now. And obviously, after the advents, I think in the last 1 year, 1.25 years, we have like added a lot of beautiful things because AI has in itself improved a lot. Earlier, we were more on the rule based stuff, and then with little bit of manual checking. Now 99%, or I would say 99.99% things are sorted with the advent of such beautiful LLMs as well as models that we have, right? In terms of engineers, right now we are around 20 plus engineers, and but what I would say is, with 20 plus engineers, along with the help of AI tools, or I would say LLMs, in terms of, let's say, Cursor, Claude, Codex, all of these, right? GitHub Copilot, right? We are able to improve the efficiency of our current team to a lot more, right? That's why we are working at a massive scale in terms of the number of outlets, but still, with a team of 20 plus engineers, we are able to do it. We are hiring right now, but still, I would call it a commendable job from the team.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
just why don't we do a quick plug? What roles are you hiring for, in case folks are
Uh,
interested?
yeah, so I am hiring for one DevOps engineer right now,
Great,
and the role is based out of Bangalore full time, and Bangalore in India. And the other one is full stack engineer, that too full time role in Bangalore. So
amazing,
anyone who's interested should reach out.
awesome. That's great. Well, impressive what you guys are achieving with a team of 20 there, obviously with the help of AI tools. What have you found is like the biggest challenge when you're building these new AI features? Was it hallucination? Was it just connecting
Mhm.
all the services that they need to take action on?
Mhm. I think both of that. First is that since the systems are so disjoint, there has to be a way of pulling the data as well as cleaning the data so that we have something which is workable. So that is the first challenge. The second challenge in terms of hallucination is definitely there. There is constant evaluation that we need to do across all agents to understand whether the agent is giving the right response or not. So I'll give you an example that we do reputation management, wherein we'll basically add your DoorDash to all your channels, including Google and Yelp, and then give you one dashboard to see all your ratings and reviews on these platforms, right? That is one part. Second part is our AI would take brand language from the customer, from the client, which is the brand owner, and then it would auto reply to all the reviews, right? So that has the highest hallucination in our case because it starts to deviate from the prompt that we have given them, right? So it may respond a little here and there to the customer, which is not at all allowed, right? Because you can't reply the customer in the way that it is not supposed to, right? So we need to reevaluate it multiple times. We have to sort of send all the replied reviews from another, like for a verification from another agent. So we have built a set of agents. So one agent would write it, the other agent would verify, right? And whatever is a problem, it flags it out, and then a human changes it, makes it better, and sends it. So there is this entire process goes. Yeah. So
Amazing.
massive focus on evaluation from our side.
And what did you find was the best way to manage? Like that starts to get pretty complicated, right? And to orchestrate. Do you do all this directly,
Mhm.
to calls to OpenAI, et cetera, to their LLMs, or do you use a framework or an agent builder to manage
Mhm.
that? I think folks are that the audience
Mhm.
would love to understand like what's the best approach when you try to level up to this kind of like multi-agent system.
Correct. So we actually work on both sides depending on the complexity. If the complexity is very high, something like a lang chain has helped us. But other than that, we haven't used anything that has worked really well for us. So, but a lot of work directly happens with the LLM provider. It could be OpenAI, it could be Gemini, it could be Claude. We keep on sort of keep a mark on different models to sort of look at. We evaluate basically this trade-off between quality and cost, right? So basically whatever is winning we try to push it more. That in itself is an entire project that we keep doing. But yes, langchain has been helpful in terms of orchestrating agents.
Amazing. And when it comes to like the user experience of your clients, are they often interacting directly with AI in your platform, or is it kind of like they click a button, they set something up, and AI is happening behind the scenes? What are you finding as the best user experience for your clients with your AI
For
system?
my clients right now, 100% is one click setup. And the conversational part we are launching in January end. So we are launching Whoosh GPT, which basically is an LLM layer on top of all your data that we have. And then you can beautifully ask them questions about your business, about what you want to get it done, etc., etc. So Whoosh GPT would definitely be a revolution in the restaurant space when it comes to third party management. And
Amazing.
we would also be the pioneers in this.
That's amazing. What are some of the like things your customers were asking for that made you think of like let's do Voosh GPT? What are the things they want to do with that AI agent?
So the first and foremost thing, the highest, I would say, asked thing is how is my business performing, right? How are my stores comparing to each other? Which channel is performing better? Is it DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, EasyCater? What is it, right? And so anything related to Business Insider, why is my sales down? Right? Is there a day when my downtime is the highest? Right? So all these questions which they keep on trying to find on our dashboard, right? You have to filter stuff, you have to check, etc., etc. They just want it with a click of like a text message to their LLM. Yeah.
Amazing. That's exciting. And how have you thought about like um, monitoring how it's working in production? I'm sure you've had that experience
Mhm.
already. You have this system with one agent that's checking another for your automations
Correct.
that you have live. When it comes to like a human directly interacting with AI, we find that
Mhm.
like they could start to ask any type of question. Have you guys
Yeah.
thought at all about that? How do you make
Yeah.
sure that the AI is doing what they want and they're not asking a nonsensical question. Sometimes the user could be
Correct.
the one in error.
Correct. So we have done actually like two things here, and I think this evaluation process is actually making the entire development process a bit longer for us. I very honestly, right? Because there are issues from both sides, right? First side, the customer may ask something that we don't have data to. That is one. Second, they may ask something which is not relevant, right? Third, with so many users and so much complexity, to actually evaluate it in the right way, there are no ends to the permutation and combination of cases that we could make, right? So what we have done is we have built one evaluation engine which basically uh, gives us the data between good thumbs up and thumbs down for each response, right? So the thumbs up data, thumbs down data, right, would be reevaluated by the another agent that we have built, and whatever we get from that agent, if there is a human involved, that would work on that particular prompt so that the next time the LLM is able to answer better. So once
I
we
see.
launch it by January end, we'll be sort of dedicating a dedicated team to make sure that the quality is improving every day as we get feedback from the user.
That's really smart. I think a lot of businesses, obviously, you're a high growth tech startup, so it's not surprising that you're going to take this approach of iterating and shipping fast. But a lot of businesses sit around and think, well, they think of like the fact that that issue could happen, and so they try to like imagine how they're going to solve it. They spend a year thinking about it and they never ship anything. Whereas the better thing is probably just to get something in the hands of your users and monitor it closely and improve it. So that's really great to hear. Are you
That's what we
thinking?
learned from, yeah, that's what we learned from Y Combinator, right?
Yes, totally. It's yeah,
Yeah.
that's something they drill into us for sure. And when you think
Yeah.
about like improving these prompts, are you going to be giving your clients access to like, are they going to say, no, that analysis, I didn't mean that. This is what I meant, and they can change the prompt directly, or do you think your team's going to be the ones completely
Mhm.
managing the prompting from the background?
We'll be doing that for sure, because the our custom or our users, right, are restaurant owners and people who are managing these multi-chain restaurants, right? So they don't know anything about prompting, right? So they just want to talk, right? So
Yeah.
ideally the evaluation engine that we have built, we'll be able to do a pretty good job, because we have been trying it internally and with few customers right now also. So we are
Mhm.
getting a pretty good pulse on how to improve it on a daily basis. Just that this entire process is just making the shipping a little slow. We usually
Mhm.
ship much faster. So, but I think
Makes
it's
sense.
worth the wait. It's worth the wait. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, last question before we start to wrap up, and I want to share a bit more
Mhm.
about Voosh to the audience. But what are you, seeing in terms of like adoption and impact of AI features? There's a lot of,
Mhm.
speculation around AI and is it
Mhm.
useful or not? I think what we've seen is there's tons of places where it's useful, but there's also
Mhm.
places where it's overhyped. So, how much of an impact are you seeing it have on your users
Mhm.
and how much adoption are you seeing of these features? Obviously, it's in the background that you're clicking a
Mhm.
button and running the AI, so it's maybe the adoption's like um, happens naturally. But yeah, I'm curious.
I see a very increasing adoption. I understand that it's not doesn't have 100% adoption, but I think every day as people are living their lives, they are starting to trusting AI more and more, right? Because everything right now is happening over a Chat GPT or a Google Gemini, right? And people who are non-users also are slowly trying it out, right? Or let's say we are having coffee, you don't use AI, I'm gonna tell you, okay, Tyler, you know what? I tried this out and it's so cool, right? And let's say if I have kids, my kids are coming and telling me, have
Yeah.
you checked out this, see what I did with this, right? So I would say from a month on month, day on day, quarter on quarter perspective, it's just having a Jake hockey curve growth in terms of adoption. I would also say that a lot of customers are reaching out to us, right, in terms of understanding more about what we are offering in terms of AI
Mm.
solution, which I don't think has ever happened before,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
So for sure there is that pull coming in, that awareness which is getting spread. So I'm quite happy with the pace it's growing.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for your time. I want to put Voosh's website up on the
Yeah.
screen. It's voosh.in. And I know you're having an exciting launch coming up sometime this month or next with the
Yeah.
conversational AI. Anything else you want to share about what's coming down the road and who should follow along, how, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, we are completely vertically focused on helping your restaurant work more profitably on third parties such as DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub. And you just follow us on LinkedIn, right? We are quite active there. And you can just search Whoosh and you can see a lot of traction, a lot of insights, a lot of posts from our side. Rest, we can anyhow get connected over a call in case you are a restaurant and you want to run your delivery business more profitably.
Amazing. Well, thanks again for the time. It's been great learning about Voosh and everything you guys have done, and looking forward to watching out for this launch and what you guys continue to build and grow the company.
Thanks a lot, Tyler. I had a great time talking to you.
Amazing. Well, talk soon and see you later. Bye now.